Hi everyone, how you doing? Welcome to Flourish by Design TV for this weekly Fem Leadership that I have promised to come on a Tuesday evening. And actually, I've been really looking forward to doing it. Yeah, I've had a busy day teaching all day with my beautiful design students, but it actually gives me a bit of a boost to come on and speak to you all. So just want to say hi, and I hope you had a lovely week, and I hope my regular viewers will be watching. And if you want to share anything in the chat while I'm live, I'd be delighted to say hi and to respond to some of your requests or comments, even if it's in the playback. If you've been watching it when you've finished work and come in to sit down and relax during the week, just put a little comment in, anything you'd like to add. So this is really the start of the training, the last couple of weeks, introduce you into why I'm doing this. I feel called to do it, and everything in my life is always about following that calling that I'm asked to do. At the moment, I've been really called to speak and to talk and to share some of my insights with you, which is really exciting. So this week, on the way to work in the car, I was saying to myself, what will I think of sharing with you? And it came to me to think about, and to ask you to think about, and to speak about, and open up the conversation around, can joy and control coexist? And it's an interesting, very deep question, actually, to ask women especially. Because if anyone knows my backstory, about 10 years ago, I've turned 50 this year actually, and 10 years ago when I turned 40, I had a significant shift in my life where at the time I was working in Griffith College teaching, had just begun actually a few years into starting to lecture, and it was all new to me. I had two small children at the time. Lauren and Scott were quite small, 10 years ago. Lauren was 9 and Scott would have been 7. And I was working with a design company. I was also lecturing, and I was studying like I am now as well, actually. So I was extremely busy, and with mums, we're extremely busy being super mum, and all the runs to school and back, and making sure they're at all the parties that they need to go to. And I was just being the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect daughter, sister, for everybody, everything for everyone. And I was actually totally exhausted. I give my energy out to absolutely everybody, and I was still quite very joyful and happy within myself, because I was happy doing all those roles. I was happy. I was really happy being a mom. I was really happy, I suppose, caring for, the whole family, I suppose, And then all of a sudden I got this calling to quieten down and go into nature, actually. And it was like nature was calling me in to have an introspection. And it wasn't out of, I would say, something traumatic or anything that happened like that. It was actually this beautiful feeling, this absolutely beautiful feeling that I just wanted, and I couldn't help but follow. So it was very interesting, and because I had beautiful opportunities arose for me at the time, but I brought myself into the cottage and I started to introspect. And it's an amazing to think of, because at the moment I'm studying research methods, so we're really always being asked to try to answer a big research question, And when I look back now, I think that that's what the calling was. It was really to answer a research question around, the question I had when I went into college was, what does a human being really need to flourish? And this was a really deep-seated question that I had in my heart that I wanted answered. I was really, really curious, not just for myself, but for humanity, and especially for women, because I could see that women were trying to do 101 things and they were totally exhausted, and we felt that we had this feminine, rebellion, and that we had actually had everything. We were given everything that we wanted nearly, but we were still exhausted, and trying to do everything for everyone still. And as I looked into, I suppose, human consciousness, and I really got really interested in the mind, which I'm always very interested in. The mind is always my thing since I was in college. It's all about psychology and how we think, and sports psychology and advertising and branding. And then I got really interested in psychology just of humans. And I realized that men and women thought completely differently, which was a huge revelation to me. I actually didn't realize that at all up to that stage. And I started to look at women, and I looked at how do women think, and what are the thought structures that are running our lives as such, And I looked at the fact that control played a huge part in how we operate on a daily basis. And for myself, becoming aware of that was the beginning of finding my joy. And it was extremely enlightening to realize that every time I let go of control that I had restricted myself with, that the amount of joy in my life started to increase. So it was really interesting, and that's why I talk about it all the time, or design your life from the inside out. So when we ask the question of, can joy and control coexist, my journey has really been around that and looking at the complexity of that. Because as I noticed that when I was becoming aware, the fact that I was actually trying to control my exterior world, trying to control, what my kids did, how my environment, trying to control my environment. And there was so much energy being put into trying to control everything around me to make it perfect so that I would feel safe. And that was such a huge revelation to me, to realize that I didn't actually feel safe in myself without this exterior control being present. Now, that was a huge revelation to me, because it meant that it was blocking my joy. So all of this energy was going into me feeling like I had to have things a certain way. If not, I didn't feel safe. And that was nothing to do with actually a sense of joy in my life. Because joy is actually, you're in the flow of life. You're in that beautiful flow. Like life is like a river, and the river is flowing, and we're in the river and we're flowing with life. That is true joy. But when we're actually clinging on and trying to control, we're actually clinging on to the side of the bank, and we're not letting go and letting ourselves flow with the flow of life and just go with the flow, as they say. So I became really, really conscious of this, and I thought, wow, So I started to, as I became aware of all the areas that I was holding on, and just gradually letting myself release and let go, I started to blossom. So that's when we talk about the bud, and I always say this bud, the tight bud, So this tight bud comes from that state of control. So we're holding on really tight that we have to have everything a certain way so that we can feel safe, so that we'll be accepted, so that we won't be judged by other people, you know? So we're keeping ourselves tight, but we can't really be ourselves when we're like that. We're in that bud state. So as we let go and we just allow, then what happens naturally, we open up to the world, and we open up into our start to blossom. Like I say here, you're blooming, me blooming roses. You start to, like the flowers around here, around me, you start to open up and you start to feel vibrant again in your life. You start to get a natural energy into your life again. And yes, of course, you get tired and it's a natural to get tired, but you still have that joy within your system because you're not so heavily invested in what your kids are doing, what everybody thinks of you, how you need to have everything perfect and looking a certain way to be accepted, that you are accepting of yourself. And it's amazing when you think of the amount of control that we need to have as women to feel some kind of security. Difficult to have really healthy, flourishing relationships as well. If you're trying to control your partner, you can't give them the freedom to be themselves, and you're needing them to be a certain way for you to feel good. It shows up in so many different aspects of your life. And there is that question again to think, so what would I say? Would you say that joy and control coexist? What happened on the journey for myself was actually looking at, I started to control the only thing that I could control, which was within me. So I could take the control from outside, my outside environment, and I started to look at how I could control myself from the inside. So everything outside of us is outside of our control, but everything on the inside is totally in our control. The more we become conscious of that. So we can control so much that will give us joy, and a natural type of joy, not an illusion of joy, because perfectionism is an illusion of joy. It is trying to keep everything a certain way just to be okay. But when we take the control within ourselves and we start to say, okay, what can I control? I can control my reactions. I can control my responses to my relationships. I can control what I eat. I can control making sure that I get enough rest. I can control that I am interested in life and I'm doing something that I really enjoy doing. And I'm not just giving. Again, if you're spending all your time controlling people from outside, very little time to find things that really light you up and that you truly enjoy. So when we let go of that outside control, we actually can get access to more time, more freedom to explore things that truly lights us up, and that gives us that vitality. And it has such a knock-on effect, because then people are more attracted to us, and they're naturally, we get beautiful, we become radiant, and we become much more, I would say, abundant in every respect, where we begin to attract lots of potential for success in our lives, because if you're smiling and you're happy and you're relaxed, people notice that, and you tend to be in a better mood, and then you often get offered, lots of, for myself, things come from out of the blue. Since I went on that journey, I've been offered to do many different things that I never really thought I would ever do. And life really opened up for me. And it just, every time I unfolded a petal, something new, some new connection or some new experience has led to the next experience, has led to the next experience. And before you know it, you have this beautiful, rich life that is extremely fulfilling and true to you. So the joy just starts to flood into your life. And it's from letting go of that false sense of control into that true control. So the true control is what you can control within yourself. And looking deeply into your own patterns, your own, behavior of how you can bring some beauty to the world, because there's so much that women have to give. We have so much to give, and we absolutely love giving. We love sharing. We love caring. We love just nurturing. But we have to sometimes forget to nurture ourselves. So when we bring the control into ourselves, then we get a chance to really look at, how are we looking after ourselves? How are we caring for ourselves? Because that's another aspect of, spending all of our time on the outside, trying to control everything on the outside. What happens is that we forget to look after ourselves and care for ourselves. We put ourselves at the bottom of the list, And really, at the end of the day, that's not going to do anybody any good, because we end up exhausted and we end up depleted, and we don't have the energy to look after those that we love. So it's beneficial for everybody for you to look after yourselves, and also you're modeling that behavior. That was a huge driving factor for me when I realized that, I've been conditioned really to please and to do everything for everybody else and to leave myself bottom of the list. But then I realized I have a daughter who's looking at me, and she's going to do exactly the same as I'm doing if I don't change. So that was a huge driving force for me to actually say, okay, Caroline, do you want this behavior to be passed on to your daughter, to Lauren? Or how would you like her to look after herself? And how would you like her to act in the world? And how would you like her to feel about what she can achieve? Because she's going to model what you do. And, that was a huge wake-up call. I realized, talking about feminine leadership and feminine empowerment, it starts with us. It starts with us. It's nothing to do with, we have to take like men out of the equation and take the responsibility on ourselves to say that we have the power to be able to model the behavior we want in the next generation. So if we really care for our kids and for our daughter especially, we need to become conscious of how we're caring for ourselves first, and finding that joy, that natural joy in ourselves is the greatest gift you will ever give your children, because they are going to be as happy as you are. And happiness is a fleeting emotion. Joy is a state of mind that you can live from on a daily basis. It's like a river a warm golden river that runs throughout your every experience. Even though you can be tired, like I said, you can be worn out, you can have grief, you can have illness, you can have difficulty with relationships, and I've had all of those things. But I would say that I've never reached a rock bottom when I've had that connection to my joy, which is my life force, which is my vitality, which is the connection I have with life itself, which is really my lifeline. And I think investing in looking at that question around, can joy and control be present is really a golden key for women, especially because we can have both. We don't want to let go of control and just, feel like we've no control of our own life. Absolutely, we can take charge of our life and take control, but from the inside out, because it's a false illusion of control from the outside in. And it's a false illusion of joy when we are holding on to perfectionism as a sense of sense of well-being. So when we look at ourselves within ourselves and really control what is within our power to control, which is everything within our own self, then that true joy can enter into our lives. And it is a different way and state of being, which I would say increases the more that you let go. And I'm still letting go. I'm still finding new areas that I can let go and let go and let go. And that's where the courage comes in. It takes huge bravery and courage to undo that type of conditioning, because we're all in the same boat together. We've all been conditioned and trained for centuries to this is the way it is, and to be, I would say, contemporary, the true woman, as I talk about, the true woman is a woman who is wanting to change the status quo and challenge the status quo, to change what a true woman is defined as being. She is defined as being someone who designs her life from the inside out, not from the outside in. Yeah? From our heart and then guided by what emerges from that state of joy that you have cultivated in yourself. And that comes from your purpose, like the seed that I talked about. So really the journey is into that seed that opens up. And we're in a state of joy. That warmth of that joy, like the sun, is what helps that seed to, bud and blossom and flourish. So what I would say, I'd love to hear your comments on that around, can joy and control be present? And in my journey over the last 10 years, I would say that yes, they can, but it's true control and joy coexist. So I hope you found that thought-provoking, because that's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to win a popularity contest. I'm here to shake things up a bit and for you to get you thinking, and to make it possible for you to feel that you can have a deep sense of joy within your life, and that as life progresses and as you mature as a woman, there's actually a huge possibility for a completely different type of blossoming and flourishing into your true self that I am completely and utterly embracing. And it's just actually the best part of my life so far. I really feel that life has become truly magical, and I'm so excited about the future, and I'm so excited about teaching more of this to you all. And I know from the women that I've been speaking to and very close friends of mine and people that I've been in touch with, it seems to be the time for this now. It's the time for women to be able to answer these questions and take some time to reflect. And I suppose more women that are doing it, that we come together to do it, we can ask questions and we can share our thoughts and we can really explore what it means to be a true woman. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there with you guys, and I'm so delighted to have your company here, whoever has come on to watch live, and to watching the playback, and I'll be back on next Tuesday night with another topic to explore with you. We'll see what comes in my intuition to explore next week. I hope you have a beautiful week, and I'm really, really thrilled to have your presence here with me, and we're on this journey together. An exciting time for women, and of course for men, because they're going to get the benefit and all of our family and our children and our extended family and friends and everyone really are the ones that can enjoy the work that we do on ourselves, and the care and the love and the nourishing that we give to ourselves, because I think we absolutely deserve that, to be treated as number one. Okay, so I'll give you that permission. Okay, so I'll talk to you next week, and God bless. Bye.